Welcome to the Plant Trainers Podcast, where we're helping people improve their quality of life through nutrition and fitness. And now, your hosts, nutrition and wellness coaches, international speakers, Adam and Shoshana Chaim.
Hey, I'm Adam Chaim.
And I'm Shoshana Chaim, and we are
Propelled by Plants. Today we bring to you episode 290, Keys to Creating an Unstoppable Relationship with Lori-Ann Davis.
In this episode of the Plant Trainers Podcast, we talk with Lori-Ann Davis. We talk to her about creating an unstoppable relationship and really deepening the passion. So it doesn't matter if you're single, if you're in a relationship, if you have 20 years under your belt or 20 years plus like Adam and I. This episode may give you some ideas on how you could really strengthen the bond with your partner and keep that flame alive. How happy you are can be a predictor of your closest relationships. And we know that exercise can create endorphins, and eating a plant-based diet can really help your happiness and your energy. And the time that you take to exercise your relationship can really help create a happy life. And it should be fait accompli.
So while most of our shows are family friendly, this one may include a little bit of language that you might want to just... Maybe the kids might not want to hear some of it. It's not X-rated or anything.
Or your mother-in-law.
Or your mother-in-law. But, you might want to just have your headphones on for some of this one.
So we suggest that you take a little bit of time and send this out to your partner today and have a little bit of conversation with us over at Facebook and Instagram at Plant Trainers.
So Lori-Ann Davis is basically a relationship guru. I mean, she teaches about love, relationships, and she truly believes that everybody can have the relationship of their dreams. And I think through our conversation, we really were able to come up with some great things that people can actually do to improve relationships or get themselves into new ones.
Yeah, because she concentrates on people who are dating and looking to find their mate. She concentrates on people who are in relationships already and want to strengthen that bond. Of course, she's the author of Unmasking Secrets to Unstoppable Relationships, How to Find, Keep, and Renew Love and Passion in Your Life. And she's also been a coach on the New Radical Dating Show. So this woman knows what she's doing.
Yeah, and after the show, if you're looking for some notes on it, of course, you can get the show notes for this episode at planttrainers.com/290. Let's get our relationships on.
I know exactly what you're thinking. What do I make for dinner? How am I going to get it done? How could I possibly stay so organized that I won't have to run to the grocery store midweek? How do I know what you're thinking? Because I'm always getting emails, PMs, DMs, and I even get stopped in the grocery store to be asked the same thing. So this is what I want. I want you to be the master of meal planning. Just click on the link in the show notes or go to planttrainers.com/shop and I'll walk you through how to plan, shop, and prep for a full week's worth of food so you don't have to get the takeout that makes you feel bad and bloated, so you don't have to stay up till 10 o'clock at night making a perfect meal because let's face it, that's not going to help your health either. You need to be exercising, talking to loved ones, binging on Netflix. You can choose how to spend your extra time, but you don't need to spend that extra time running to the grocery store in the middle of the week, in the kitchen, or wondering what to make. Go to planttrainers.com/shop, click on the Meal Planning Mastery link, and for $27, become a rock star.
And now for a moment of gratitude.
Without sounding too corny or vegan cheesy,
Barf.
I am grateful for you. I'm grateful for everything you do. I'm grateful for what we can do and accomplish together, how you could pick up the slack for me on a day where I need you to, but how you can make me laugh by saying barf and all those other things. I'm just grateful for you.
Yeah, ditto. I'm done.
So
Is that
romantic.
the easy way out?
It's so romantic.
Is that the
You need
easy
to
way
put in
out?
a little bit more effort.
I appreciate everything that you do for me and for our family and all the hard work that you may not get recognized for. But I know, the kids know that you put so much time and effort into everything that you do for us in the house. And I really do appreciate all you do.
Lori-Ann Davis, thank you so much for joining us on the Plant Trainers Podcast today.
Thank you so much for having me.
So we've worked together before in a couple of different capacities, so I'm excited to talk to you and share you with our listeners. Before we do you have a moment of gratitude to share with us?
Yes, my gratitude is my family, my children, and my husband, because without their support and encouragement, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing right now. So I'm always grateful for them.
And I'm sure that you have a lot of people who are grateful for them so that you can do what you do also. It's funny because when we speak on panels together or do different webinars together, I'm always talking about food. You're always talking about relationship. And that's why we thought that it was a good thing to have you on now, because we have Valentine's Day coming up. And of course, relationships shouldn't be only focused on, in February on Valentine's Day time. But we brought it up because it's really hard to plan out a whole year of podcasts and we want it to make sense. But it's funny because, like I was saying, I talk about food, you talk about relationship, but really what we need, those two are basic needs. Everybody needs food because we need energy and we need to be able to survive, right? But we also need relationship to survive. And people who are very alone end up with a lot of different, mental illnesses, which can turn into physical illnesses as well. So I think what we do is equally important.
I completely agree. We need the balance of both in order to have a healthy mind and a healthy body.
So how do you think overall physical and mental health is really affected by relationship?
People that are in relationships affect every area of your life, not just your relationships. But there have definitely been studies that people that are happy in their relationships are happier overall in life. They, believe it or not, they make more money. They're more successful in their careers. They're happier with their families. So that's the emotional part. And then the research has also shown that they have less depression and anxiety. They have lower blood pressure. Stress management is better immune systems. They live longer. So there really just isn't, if your relationships are good, there's no downside to that. And it affects in a positive way almost every area of your life.
So we're going to be talking about relationships with people, not relationships to food. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
Because the way we started, it was like sounding like we might be talking about people's relationship with food.
No.
Not my expertise. No. Although I know a little something about that, but that's y'all's expertise.
Not my intention at all. So yes, we are talking about relationship with others, but what I was doing is I was making that parallel where I'm the food girl, you're the relationship girl, relationship with others gal, and they're both really basic needs that we have. Yeah.
Right. I just want our listeners to be clear that we're focusing on the importance of making connections with other people.
So yeah, you mentioned, if people are not happy in their work, but they are happy with the relationship, their level of happiness with work is going to be better, or their level of happiness overall is going to be better. So if somebody was really unhappy with work, or if somebody was really unhappy with something else in their life, would you normally recommend to them to take a look at their closest relationships first, and maybe they need to work on those closest relationships before they go and switch jobs and all of that? Or, does it more or less go hand in hand? Is it different for everybody?
Well, I think it's different for everybody. You might be in a job that you're not passionate about. I have been working on a new blog this week about passion, and passion's a word that I use a lot in my business. And so we are passionate about relationships. We can also obviously be passionate about what we do for a living. If you're not happy about your career, you could just be you're not doing something that you're passionate about, and you do need to make a change in the career. But I think that's not a bad point, though. Take a look at your relationships first, and take a look at, because that bleeds over. What I do know is that if you're not happy at home, if you're not happy in your relationship, it is going to bleed over into all areas of your life. So taking a look at that and saying, are there other things that I'm not happy about because I don't have, kind of think of that, my background is as a therapist. So that Maslow's hierarchy, right? We need the basic essentials first before we can kind of move up to higher levels. So if when you come home, you're walking into a war zone, or you're not feeling connected with this person you're supposed to be, or if you're single and you really desire a relationship and you don't have one, so you walk in the door every day and you just feel sad, that's going to affect every area of your life. And, so they interact for sure, but we definitely want to work on our relationships.
So for our single listeners, if they are not having a partner per se, do they need to look at their strongest relationships, maybe with a sibling or with a parent or with a best friend? Would that work the same way?
So there's two parts to that answer, I think. When I work with singles, one of the first things I tell them is that one of the keys to finding a partner is to be a happy single. And so people will say, that doesn't make any sense, right? I want a partner. Why do you want me to be happy single? Well, I want you to be happy with your life and create a life that you love so that you're adding somebody to that life. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to say, I'm so happy as being a single, I don't want a partner anymore, right? When I was single for a while, I was really clear that I was not going to be as happy as I wanted to be until I had a partner. But that didn't mean that I couldn't create a life that I was happy with while I was looking for a partner. Does that make sense?
Yes. We're playing around with the words there a little bit. Yeah.
Yes. So we want you to create a life that you're as happy as you can possibly be while you're single, because actually that helps you attract the right partner to you. It's one of the things that sometimes singles need to do if they're lonely or there's something missing in their life while they're waiting for that partner, is to add more friends, to reach out to family, to, if you don't have enough close friends, to start doing some more things socially so that you're filling that social need for yourself. So that's part of the answer. But then I'm also going to say that I think for the majority of people, nothing completely fills that space in our lives in the same way as a partner. Friends and family add to our lives in wonderful ways, but there's nothing like having that one special person, right? That you can be yourself with, that's got your back, that is your partner in life. And of course, we share things with them that we don't usually share with other people as well. So I don't know that anything fills the need for that, but we need both in our lives.
So our partners that we have, how is it? I mean, you talked about passion. So when you talked about being passionate about what you do in life and being passionate about your partner or with your partner, is there a different definition there, or are you using the same word? And are people kind of thinking, oh, when I think about passion, I think about passion and Spanish and bad accent. But you know what I mean? Let's go back to the word passion.
So for me, the word passion means excitement. It means that you're just, that there's all this energy around it, right? Passion's a word that has a lot of energy. So when you're thinking about your career, you're thinking about a hobby, it means that you look forward to doing it, right? You have excitement about it. It plays a big role in your life. So that can be the same with a partner. When we talk about passion for somebody, we look forward to seeing them. We want to spend time with them. We're happy. They put a smile on our face. So that's one level of passion. If we're talking about an intimate partner, so we're talking about a husband or a wife or a boyfriend or a girlfriend or whatever it is, whatever that partner looks like for us, there's another level to that. Obviously, there is a passion that involves intimacy and sex. And so but for me, that's just another way to express that passion that you have with them. But that's a way that we generally only express that form of passion with that one special person.
So without getting too X-rated or having, to put on our beats and not let our children listen to the rest of the podcast, if you did want to deepen your passion with your partner, what kind of things would you recommend there?
If I can, if it's all right, I would like to just really briefly tell you why passion in your relationship is so important, just very briefly.
Of course.
Because I think that a lot of people don't realize how important it is. And what I know from working with couples for 30 plus years now is that it is one of the things that kind of goes away in relationships for a lot of people. And it will go away if we don't put the time and effort into keeping it alive. That sort of romantic stage of the relationship eventually starts to wane, and we have to do something to keep that alive. And so I don't know that people realize truly how important it is. So people that have more passion, that take that time for intimacy and passion in their relationships, they tend to focus more on the positive attributes of their partner. They talk more in positive ways about the other person. They communicate better. They have more fun together. And definitely, just in general, they are happier about the other person. I always say it's like a little magic pill that you take that puts those rose-colored glasses on, so you see the person more like you did in the beginning of the relationship. So for me, that's an integral part of all of this, is why it's so important to make time for that and to put the effort into it. Make sense?
It makes sense. It's almost like you have that flame in your campground and you want to keep that flame going, because if it goes out and you're out of matches, then you have to start building it up again, and if it rained or you only have sticks, then it's going to be a lot harder to get that flame going again.
Ooh, I like that. That's a really good, I like that.
Copyright.
I won't take it.
Go ahead.
So does the passion come first, or is the passion a byproduct of all these things that you put together in the relationship?
Ooh, that's a really good question. For some people, the passion comes first, when that whole love at first sight thing, which really isn't love, it's chemistry. Some people, when they get together, that is sort of an instant attraction that happens. And some people think you have to have that in order to fall in love. And it's actually not true. It's something that you would like to develop, but sometimes that's something that develops as you get to know the person more. So I've had two long-term relationships in my life. And the first time it was chemistry, I'm going to call it hormones at first sight. And that, we kept that alive for 25 years. And the second time around, that really wasn't the case with my current husband. I thought he was nice. I enjoyed his company, but really we were probably a good 4 or 5 dates in before there was any spark, at least for me. I needed to get to know him a little. We needed to, I don't know, let our guard down, I think maybe that's because we were older, but we needed to feel a little more comfortable around each other. And then all of a sudden there was that spark. And now, 7 years later, we still have it. But people get confused with that. They think that they need that in the very beginning. And so if they go out on date 1 and they don't have that, they'll say, oh, there was no spark, so I'm not going to date the person again. And if they're listening to me, they know that I say, you need to give it a little bit of time. And for some people, honestly, the people that they're attracted to, if they feel that spark on date 1, they need to run the other direction, right? Because some people have a history of having that spark with people that are no good for them. So, there's a lot to that.
Or expecting that spark to always be at the same degree.
Yeah, without putting in work. And really, it's called the romantic stage of the relationship. And that lasts for most couples anywhere from 6 months to 2 years. And so most people get married during that stage, and then it starts to wear off. And then if we don't do things to keep that fire going, it does diminish. And depending on your personality, depending on the personality of your partner and the relationship you have, depends kind of on how much that diminishes and how fast it diminishes. But we have to do things. We have to do things to keep that going. And that's the part that's important. And we can talk about some things to do.
Yeah, let's talk about some things to do.
Okay. So for one of the things for men to know is that attention really is an aphrodisiac for women. And in the book that I wrote, I have a whole chapter about this. So, and I actually have another book about to go to the publisher next week, I hope, that's going to be written more for men. The first one was more for women. The second one's going to be written for men.
That's exciting. So you're talking about Unmasking Secrets to Unstoppable Relationships.
Yes.
Perfect.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
And then I have another one that's coming out for men, talking about ideas about how to make relationship work and how to understand women better. And it's kind of bullet points and, ideas. So I'll give a lot of ideas about this, but remembering that some attention goes a long way. And so a lot of times when we think about passion, we just think about the bedroom, and we need to not do that. We need to think about leading up to that. So we need to think about what can we be doing during the day, and not just on special days, not just on special occasions, but most days. Can we, starting early in the day, if we are partying, going to work, instead of just saying goodbye and giving each other a quick little, peck on the cheek, can we give our partner a longer kiss? Can we start our day with, I was doing some research about this, and there's the 10-second kiss. Have you heard about that?
No, we haven't.
That if you actually will kiss somebody for 10 seconds, not the little quick kiss, but a 10-second kiss, it actually starts a chemical reaction. It starts the hormones flowing. So think about starting your day that way. So now you're leaving each other in the morning, and the chemicals are starting to flow. So the chemicals are sort of helping you out. So now you're thinking about your partner. What if on your lunch break you sent a flirty text to your partner, or, you heard a joke, or you thought about something they might like? So you've got some kind of communication going throughout the day. telling the other person sometimes that they look nice before they walk out the door. So it's the little things, but don't think about them right before you're heading to the bedroom, right? So we're definitely G-rated here. Thinking about earlier in the day and thinking about kind of on a day-to-day basis. Can you be reaching out to each other more? Do you know your partner's love language? So what's important to them? If it's gifts, for instance, periodically, can you stop on the way home and pick up, if you're a guy, and your wife loves, I only eat the really, good chocolate that's like almost all chocolate. So talking about plants and healthy. So,
Adam used to buy me flowers all the time, and then I wrote a blog asking him to stop buying me flowers. Not because I didn't want I wanted the effort. I just felt really bad about flowers being grown just to be cut and come into my kitchen and die. So I'm like, I'd rather have a juice from the juicery.
Right. So if he stopped at a juice place and brought you home periodically your favorite juice, or I saw this new one that you might like to try. So whatever it is, but kind of learning our partner, learning what's important to them. If acts of service are something that's important to you and you don't normally unload the dishwasher, unloading the dishwasher could actually be a really sexy thing. I wrote something and I posted on Facebook periodically that says, guys, vacuuming really is sexy.
With their shirts off. Okay. Put on the beats, people. Yeah.
yeah, that would work for me. But really kind of finding a little bit out about our partner and what's important to them and making sure that on an ongoing basis, we are doing some of those small things. So some of it is text, some of it's the kissing, some of it's doing things that they would like. And then the physical part is making sure, though, that we are adding some physical touch on a daily basis. And that can be as simple as, if you're sitting down watching a show together, or even if you're sitting on the couch reading next to each other, instead of being in separate recliners, could you sit on the couch next to each other? And could you, make sure that your shoulders are touching or your legs are touching, or, it's just that physical closeness.
Or hand massage.
Yes. So, there's so many things we can do.
Time out. Hold on a second. For all you single people out there, we're making this sound like it's a job, right? We're making it sound like a relationship is becoming a job. And for the single people listening, they're saying, what do I need that for? That's just more work. I already have enough to do in my life.
Yeah, but if you do that, then maybe the dishwasher will get unloaded every now and then.
The single people are ordering in food. They're not doing the dishes.
Not our people. They're not ordering in food.
So what are the single people getting? What are they getting that they're not getting when they're single?
There's so much more great information coming your way. But before we get to that, we wanted to share with you and let you know that
stress is an everyday reality in our bodies. Whether it comes from physical injury, exercise, airborne toxins, UV radiation, or just the aging process, or maybe you're at work and that's stressful enough for you, the effects of stress show up in your joints, in your muscles, and in your skin, and even in your individual cells. LifeMax counters the effects of physical stress, natural aging, and cellular damage using 16 extracts that support 9 crucial areas of wellness to help you get the maximum meaningful mileage from life.
Via LifeMax supports a healthy, active lifestyle. It promotes longevity, supports cardiovascular health, regulates healthy cell division, promotes a healthy inflammatory response, really supports our immune system, and helps maintain healthy cognitive function. It helps balance our mood, supports antioxidant activity, supports our eye health, fights the outward signs of aging, provides a nutritional foundation for vital functions of the body. It does so many things. So whether you suffer from chronic inflammation, you're having surgery, or are under stress on a regular basis, you probably want to give Via LifeMax a try. We have a link to information about Via LifeMax and its amazing qualities in the show notes and at planttrainers.com/shop. Check it out there and click on the link to book a call with Shoshana so she can make sure that it's the right product for you and help you get your hands on it. And now back to the show.
Yeah, you get to discuss things. You get to make plans. are you saying that you'd rather be single?
Not at all.
We might need some.
We're
Not
going
at
the
all.
opposite way with this show, Lori.
Not at all. All I'm saying is we're making it sound like there's so much effort that has to put into a relationship.
But if you put in that effort at the beginning, when it's not effort, that it's things that these are things that you do. I mean, you remember when
First of all, I do all these things already.
Yeah, so we
I
do a lot
the
of these things.
dishwasher.
Okay.
Let's.
Okay,
Oh,
relationships are not about the
here we
dishwasher,
go.
but I'm talking about, we hold hands a lot, right? But if you think, sometimes we rub our thumb. You know how you rub your thumb on somebody's hand, like how we do that sometimes. There was not one time that we didn't rub thumbs at the beginning. And I think that because we did that so much at the beginning, it's something that we still do now. So if you do all these things at the beginning, when you are in that passion stage, or what did you call it, romantic stage, then these are things, as long as you say, I better keep up with it, right? I better keep up with it. And I mean, you don't have to do all these things, and emptying the dishwasher is going to be a turn on for somebody, but not for somebody else. Rubbing elbows or shoulders is going to be, good for somebody, but not for somebody else, right?
Right.
So I don't think we're scaring people away. I think that maybe this can also give people some insight if they've had relationships that they thought would work out and didn't. How can they use passion to find another plentiful person to live their days out with?
Right.
And relationships take work. Let's face it, they do. If you want a good relationship, it requires effort. But the effort should be something that you don't mind doing because you love this other person. You want to do little things for them that make them happy. They're doing little things for you that make you happy. You're coming together and you're sharing this bond with this other person that makes you feel amazing. And so it adds to your life. It adds to your day. Remember the mental health. We're happier. We have less anxiety. We're physically healthier because we're in relationships and we're happy. So there's all these benefits that come from this. And so I don't know about you, but I look forward to the end of the day when it's the time that I'm going to go spend some bonding time with my husband. I mean, I love all the things I do all day, but I look forward that time. It's like, ooh, yay. Like, this is what's coming up next, right? It's snuggle time. It's time for me to go spend some time with this person that I love. And that makes me happy. And so I look forward to it.
I think Adam's playing devil's advocate a little bit here because he's the one that always says if it's not hard work, then it's not worth doing. He he understands that. I think he's just trying to get in the mind of some other people. I want to go back to the flirty text or to that kiss in the morning, because I'm kind of playing tug of war in my head right now with, do you think that people would be more productive throughout the day if they started that day off with that kiss and they have something to look forward to a longer kiss when they get home, or they have that chemistry or the hormones flowing throughout the day? Are they going to be more productive in their work because they're happier and all of that? Or is it going to be more of a distraction throughout the day and they're not going to be able to work and they're not going to be productive because they've got their head in the gutter?
So when you're feeling good, energy's flowing, you're happy, you're in that flow, right? Without getting too woo-woo about terms, but you're in that flow. I don't know about you. Most of the people I know, we are definitely more productive when we're in a bad mood, or if you've had a disagreement with your partner. What are you thinking about all day, right? Like, you're going to get a lot less done if you're thinking about how annoyed you are with the other person. Or if you're just not passionate about anything and you've got sort of that low level of funk going on, you're not very productive. So you're definitely going to be more productive when you're happy.
Right. So has there been research, and it's definitely time for the children not to listen, people. Has there been research showing if you start these things earlier in the day as opposed to, 10 minutes before or just at the time? In the plant-based world, we talk about cardiovascular health a lot. And as we know by talking to Dr. Joel Kahn on episodes 91 and 231 of the Plant Trainers podcast, that there's a big connection between your cardiovascular health and erections. And if your arteries are all clogged up, the blood's not able to go through. And of course, it's blood flow that creates the erection. So we know that there's a connection between the foods that we eat, but in terms of people who are maybe having trouble in the bedroom, and our listeners know that they need to get their hearts checked if they do, because that could be a big part of it. But do you think that that will help? And, replacing that little blue pill with flirty text and 10-second kisses first thing in the morning, is there connection there?
There is, and the connection tends to be even more important for women. So I talk a lot about the differences between men and women. And of course, so we always have to generalize. There's always going to be people that this doesn't fit for. So I'll throw that out there. But overall, this is even more important. Men, not to say that men don't enjoy all these things, because they do. But a lot of times women are the first ones sometimes that will start to say, well, I'm tired, right? I've been at work all day, and so I'm not tired. And so there'll be a no to their partner. So this helps women to feel like they want to be a yes more, because now they've sort of got those hormones flowing. Earlier in the day, they're sort of thinking about it a little. Women don't disconnect the physical from the mental as easy as men do. And we could talk about the differences in our brains that explains why that's the case. But it does help. It helps women, to kind of be thinking about that earlier. So that flirtiness makes them feel good, and it makes them easier to kind of, when they come home, to think about being in the mood. So yes, I mean, obviously, if you need the little blue pill for physical reasons, it's not going to help. But a lot of times it is emotional. A lot of times it's that we don't feel connected. And what people don't realize is that they'll say, well, I hear this from couples all the time. Well, we don't have a very good love life because we're not communicating well and we don't feel connected. And I get that. And then what I tell them is, I know this sounds counterproductive, but you have to trust me here. We need to work on communication. You need to be able to resolve issues. We're going to get to that. But believe it or not, you're going to do that better if you spend more time being physically intimate with each other. Because again, you're going to feel better about the other person. You're going to feel better about your relationship. Those hormones don't just last for an hour or two. Those hormones are still there the next day, lingering around in your body, making you happier with each other. So now when you're happier with each other, we can work on some of the other underlying issues. It's not just go get physical and all of your problems are going to go away. I don't mean that at all. But by starting to spend some time and starting to have some physical connection with each other, it does make everything else easier to do. So I always tell couples, I want you ready? This is a shocker, to always be a yes to each other. And so at first people go, what do you mean? And I said, obviously there's going to be some times where you have to say no. If you have the flu, obviously, and your partner is in the mood, they shouldn't really be if you have the flu. But, you're going to say no. If it's 2 a.m. and you've got, a big meeting in the next morning, obviously you're not going to wake up in the 2 a.m. and say yes.
Maybe you should, because maybe your hormones will be flowing the next day and you'll present better.
But we really want to try to think about, instead of coming up with reasons to say no, we want to come up with reasons to say yes. So we want to be making it a priority to be spending more intimate time together. Enjoy each other's company. It's one of the advantages of being in a relationship with somebody, right? Is that you can have fun together in this way. It takes away some of the stress hormones. It lowers your cortisol levels. Like, let's enjoy this. We're missing out on a wonderful part of our relationship that we don't take advantage of because we get into the mindset of, well, this is something I'm doing for the other person, and maybe they didn't do something I wanted. Or we get into the mindset of I'm too tired, or whatever it is, the reason we come up with. And if we could change our thinking around that and say, let's just really drop all the complications of life, all the stresses of life, and just for a little bit. And I'm not saying it has to be, it has to be fireworks every time. I'm trying to make sure I keep this really G-rated. What if it's just snuggling? What if it's just that you spent 15 minutes before you went to sleep at night snuggling with each other and just enjoying that closeness with the other person so that you felt connected, right? We're missing out, I truly believe, on a really important part of a relationship. And the research says that couples that are more intimate are happier with each other. And the other thing is that then that intimacy creates a desire for more intimacy. So more sex creates a desire for more sex.
So I'm so glad that you went there, because that was my question that was on the tip of my tongue. And I was going to say, how much more detrimental is it to say no as opposed to always saying yes? Because a person might not want to, but they say yes. And assuming that you're in a safe, healthy relationship and saying yes
Right.
to your partner, you've talked about how the good parts of it, of saying yes, but how detrimental is it to say no?
It's very detrimental to relationships. It really is. A couple of patterns start to happen. You say no enough, the other person quits asking, and they start to then sort of pull away. And eventually you find couples that end up more as roommates than they are lovers, and so they've taken out, not to say that roommates, and friendship isn't great, but sex in and of itself doesn't fix a relationship, but it is an indicator of how healthy a relationship is. That was one of the things I learned first thing out in grad school, and it has not proved me wrong since, that when couples don't have a good love life, usually you will find, unless there's some physical reason, but even if there's something going on physically, there are other things they can do to still connect physically. You will notice that the rest of the relationship eventually starts to go down that rabbit hole, right? It starts to become more negative. They lose some connection. So it is detrimental. We're telling the other person that I don't want to be there for you. I'm not interested in you. And that might not be what we mean. We really simply might mean, I'm really tired tonight. But what I can tell you, and everybody that's listening, is if you'll just say yes, and maybe let the other person know what they could do to help you be a yes, right? Like if you'd rub my shoulders for 5 minutes, that would really help me to feel different about this.
If you emptied the dishwasher first, then I'd feel really different about it.
And we have to take some responsibility. We have to take some responsibility ourselves for getting our own mindset in the right space. But chances are, if you just got started, a little bit down the road, you'd feel different about it. The head of the coaching institute that I am part of, David Steele, likes to say, whether you're in the mood or not, at the end of it all, a good orgasm still feels good. It doesn't matter how you started. So I kind of like that. So hopefully that's not too much to say. But
no, we're good.
But the end result is so I will talk to people that sometimes say, well, what if I don't like what's going on? Well, now we have a whole different issue. And then we have to talk about working together, right, to make sure that both people are enjoying themselves. So if you're not, then you have to work on that part. But say yes, enjoy yourself. It doesn't, again, what you're saying yes to can be different. It can look different, depending on energy levels, depending on time, depending on, where the kids are in your house. So things can look different. But think about it. Most days, if you could plan to just spend a little bit of time physically being intimate in some way. And again, it could just mean that you're just snuggled up next to each other, chatting about your day. And that might be all that is.
Podcasting.
Or podcasting.
He's rolling his eyes at me.
So we're just
It make a difference.
Yeah, so we're just before Valentine's Day, and we know that after Christmas and New Year's, a lot of people break up with their significant other, and some pick up new ones moving into Valentine's Day. What are some important points that we could share with people that are going into new relationships or couples that have been in a relationship for a while that they could hold on to help build and strengthen their current relationships or new ones?
So if you're going into a new relationship, I really actually encourage you to take things slower. It's kind of the opposite advice. Take things slower and really get to know the other person, because once those hormones start to get flowing too much, it's hard to engage your brain. And you really do want to make sure when you're dating that the person that you're dating is somebody that really has potential. If you're looking for a relationship, if you're just looking to have fun in dating, do whatever you want. But if you're looking for that one person that you're going to build this solid relationship with, get to know them enough. Know what's important for you. What do you need in a relationship to be happy? And then find out, does this person have this? We don't want to go into relationships trying to change the other person. That was my post today on my social media, was find the person that you can love who they are, imperfections and all, instead of trying to change somebody. So in the beginning, it's go a little bit slower and really enjoy getting to know the person so that you have a better outcome in the end. And then if you've got a relationship, I think we've given you lots of ideas about maybe some things you can do to help that relationship. Pretend that you're dating again. If you've been in a relationship for a little bit and you feel it's getting stagnant, go back to dating. Go back to doing some of the things you did. Be a little flirty, be a little playful, except if you're in a relationship, that flirtiness can take on a whole new level at whatever level you're comfortable with. In the beginning of dating, you've got to be a little bit more appropriate, but not once you're in a relationship.
Yeah.
So have fun.
You can definitely start to cross some different lines once you're in that relationship, for sure.
Yeah.
Lorianne, we loved the tips that you gave us today. I think there's some great stuff here for people who are just getting into relationships or are single, and people who have been in relationships quite a long time. I know Adam and I have been together just over 22 years. So, it's definitely been a while. It makes me feel old, but I feel young, but that sounds old. If people wanted to reach out to you or see some of your social media, where would you like them to go?
They can look up Lori Ann Davis on Facebook, or my website is my name too. It's lorianndavis.com. And I've written blogs about a lot of these topics that we're talking about. So if you go to the blog section of my website and just start perusing, there's all kinds of different blogs that go further into some of the things we've talked about.
Thank you so much. So we are going to link to all of your social media and your website at planttrainers.com in the show notes from the show. And we want to thank you again so much for your time, for your expertise. And I hope somebody here has learned something. And of course, when you learn something and you apply it, we love when you tag us. If you feel comfortable, you could tag us now too. And hopefully have a beautiful Valentine's Day, everybody.
Yeah, and just have fun, right?
So many people forget that relationships should keep the passion alive, and they should have fun. We get so serious wanting the other person to do everything our way and having all these expectations that aren't realistic. And I think that, I'm not saying there aren't a lot of times bigger issues for couples, but a lot of times it's like, oh my word, just quit expecting the other person to be perfect. Quit looking at all the things they're doing wrong and go have some fun together.
Yeah. And the other thing that I wanted to say that I forgot to say is that when we're in a relationship and we're happy and we're passionate and we have those hormones flowing and we're working out, we're going to be more likely to eat better. And if we're eating better, we're going to have more energy. We're going to, want more passion, and it's just going to become cyclical. So it's a great way to make sure that you're maintaining a healthy lifestyle.
It's also great exercise.
It's all about having fun. Tag us on your social media. Have fun. Thanks, Lori.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you all so much for listening to this edition of the Plant Trainers Podcast. We want to make sure that you subscribe on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, or any other podcasting platform.
We really appreciate the feedback we receive from you. Every time we get a 5-star rating or review on iTunes from one of our fans, it really helps other people find us, just like you did.
Thanks so much to our patrons. To become a patron, visit us at patreon.com/planttrainers. Even supporting us with $1 really makes a difference in the quality of the show.
And don't forget to connect with us on Instagram and Twitter. Our handle is @PlantTrainers. Like Plant Trainers on Facebook, join our newsletter, and check out our website at planttrainers.com for awesome recipes, a list of our services, and of course, our latest podcast.
We encourage you to email your questions to info@planttrainers.com so that we can help you improve your quality of life through nutrition and fitness.
So we hope we've inspired you today. Join us again next time and have a healthy day. Or is that too corny?
It's a little cheesy.